How would you describe a best friend? Usually, a person who we call our best friend is someone we share a big part of our life with, someone we trust, someone who is there for us through both good and bad, no matter what. A best friend is supposed to make our lives better. But in the case of 21-year-old Alexis Crawford, her best friend did the contrary in the worst way imaginable. Born on December 23, 1997, in Athens, Georgia, Alexis Crawford came to be part of a large family. Her mother and father, Tammy Crawford and Bobby Wright, had 10 children. Growing up in such a big family can have its difficulties, but Alexis grew up to be very close with her brothers and sisters as well as her parents. Alexis was described as a beautiful, bright, and talented young woman who lived life to the fullest. She was a kind and loving soul who never left anyone behind and did anything and everything for her loved ones. There was no reason for anyone to doubt Alexis would not have a bright future ahead of her. Alexis graduated from Clark Central High School in 2016, after which she enrolled at Clark Atlanta University. The ambitious young woman took up a double major, sociology and criminal justice. Alexis was passionate about women's empowerment and wanted to become a lawyer to help those in need. Alexis had no way of knowing that one wrong acquaintance would lead to her becoming one of the women she could have one day represented. During her time at CAU, Alexis met another young woman named Jordan Jones. The two immediately hit it off and soon became best friends. These two were inseparable. Where there was one, there would be another. Jordan spent so much time in the Crawford residence, including her Thanksgiving and Easter holidays, that she became almost like the 13th member of the family. As they got along so well and basically felt like sisters, Alexis and Jordan decided to move in together. In 2019, the two found a place at Heritage Station, near downtown Atlanta, and minutes away from CAU. It was the perfect arrangement. What could be better than starting your life independently as a young adult together with your best friend? In reality, the two young women moving in together was the beginning of the end for 21-year-old Alexis Crawford. On October 26, 2019, Alexis and Jordan were out having fun and drinking at a local bar. The two friends were with Jordan's boyfriend, 21-year-old Baron Brantley. Baron was an aspiring rapper who described himself on his Instagram bio as an artist, giving y'all a head start and mapor not looking for a handout. Alexis didn't exactly like Baron, who had a lengthy criminal record that included things such as robbery and battery. But Jordan liked Baron, and that was enough for Alexis to tolerate Baron. On that Saturday night in late October, the trio was quite drunk as they got back to Alexis and Jordan's apartment. Jordan wasn't feeling well, and she was tired, so she went straight to bed. What the young woman didn't know at the time was that when she would open her eyes the next time, nothing would be the same again between her and Alexis. A while after falling asleep, a call of nature woke up Jordan, who got up and walked to the bathroom. As the door was locked, Jordan waited for a minute, and 2 and 3, but nobody came out. Eventually, Jordan started knocking on the door repeatedly, confused about what was going on. Finally, after a few more minutes, the door opened, and Jordan was confronted by a disturbing scene. Her boyfriend came out of the bathroom without his shirt, while her best friend lay on the floor naked and unconscious. Before Jordan had time to say anything, Baron quickly told his girlfriend things were not how they looked like, saying, "I didn't touch her, I didn't rape her." An argument ensued, which ended with Baron grabbing his keys, rushing out of the apartment and driving away. At this point, Jordan picked up her phone and dialed 911, but the call didn't go exactly as you would think. Without mentioning anything about her best friend, who was still helplessly lying on the floor, Jordan told the operator, "My ex-boyfriend just stole my car." Not a single word during that phone call described what may have happened to Alexis and the state she was in. Instead, Jordan ended the 911 call and then called a Clark Atlanta mentor and a friend of her sister, a woman named Brittany, to complain about Baron. This time, Jordan did casually mention Alexis, and that something happened before asking Brittany to come over. By the time Brittany arrived at the apartment, Alexis was conscious but sitting on the floor and crying uncontrollably. Once the young woman managed to speak, Alexis told Brittany she believed she had been sexually assaulted. At 1:01 a.m., Brittany called 911, and police, fire, and EMS responded to the apartment Heritage Station. Shortly after, Alexis was taken to the hospital to have a rape kit and collect possible DNA evidence from her body and clothes. Although Alexis couldn't remember everything that had happened that night, she did recall how she ended up in the bathroom. After the trio had returned home from the bar and Jordan went to bed, Baron started to make sexual advances toward Alexis. As he rubbed her shoulder and kissed her neck, Alexis confronted Baron, asking what he was doing. The young man claimed he made a mistake, that he thought Alexis was Jordan. And yet, Barron followed his girlfriend's best friend to her bedroom as Alexis tried to get away from him. At this point, Alexis attempted to lock herself in the bathroom to get out of the situation, but she blacked out. Alexis couldn't say why she suddenly became unconscious or what happened afterward, but when Alexis woke up, she was naked despite the fact she had entered the bathroom fully clothed. Alexis could only hope things had not gone as far as they seemed and she had not been violated. But when the DNA test results eventually came back, Alexis Crawford's world crumbled down around her. Barron Brantley, her best friend's boyfriend, had raped her. However, it took time for the results to come and Barron wasn't arrested straight away, which was a terrible mistake. Now, Alexis did what everyone should do in this situation. She filed charges, but instead of supporting her traumatized and scared best friend who couldn't even sleep in her own room anymore, Jordan turned her back on Alexis. Apparently, Barron managed to convince his girlfriend that he had been so drunk that night that he really thought Alexis was Jordan. Barron said it was all just a terrible mistake and apologized, winning Jordan over. What made the situation even more twisted was the fact that on December 14, 2018, Jordan tweeted, "It's a disgusting reality to know that every woman you know has most likely been sexually assaulted or harassed. And yet, she couldn't believe it happened to her best friend." Meanwhile, Alexis believed after such a horrifying incident, Barron would never step foot inside her home again. Surely Jordan couldn't possibly want that man around after what he did. Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, Alexis spoke with her mother and sisters, sounding quite cheerful. At 8:45 p.m., the young woman texted her sister, Alexandria, asking, "What are you doing for the weekend?" Alexandria replied, "Nothing." That was the last time the sisters ever spoke with each other. Alexis didn't respond to other text messages from her family members that night, but she was seen at a local liquor store with Jordan. It seemed that the roommates, who had not been on speaking terms since what happened with Barron, had somewhat settled their differences, or at least Alexis believed so. A surveillance camera at D&M Package on Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard captured a photo of Alexis in her pink hoodie before she returned to her apartment with Jordan. The following morning, Alexis' family members tried to contact her, but despite several messages and phone calls, nobody heard from the young woman. It wasn't like Alexis at all to ignore her family and be totally unreachable for long periods at that time, so the Crawfords began to grow worried almost immediately. As the hours kept passing and Alexis still hadn't returned the calls, that worry turned to panic. By the following day, November 1st, it was clear something was terribly wrong, so Tammy and Body contacted the authorities and reported their daughter missing. When Jordan was questioned about Alexis's whereabouts, she did tell the police they visited the liquor store together, but didn't have any idea where her roommate had gone afterward. According to Jordan, she was too busy with her classes and didn't pay attention to the fact Alexis was absent. Upon searching the flat, the officers failed to locate Alexis's phone, credit cards, and student ID card. Wherever the young woman had gone, her belongings seemed to be with her. Based on her cell phone records, Alexis had been active between 2 and 3 a.m. on October 31st, but after that, there had been total radio silence. To Alexis's family, it didn't make any sense. It seemed like the young woman had purposely gone out the night she disappeared, but where she had gone was a mystery. Nobody had seen Alexis. It was like she had vanished into thin air. The Crawfords did absolutely everything they could to find Alexis and aid the police in the investigation. They searched for her. They distributed flyers. They used social media and media to plead to the public for information. During a press conference on Monday, November 4th, Bobby gave a heartbreaking statement, pleading for his daughter's safe return. "Baby, I love you, baby. Just come home, baby. Just come home." Surprisingly, Jordan joined the search, although the people seemed to be accusing her of knowing more about Alexis's disappearance than she was willing to admit. On her Instagram stories, Jordan wrote, "Thank you to everyone that isn't being negative in my DMs. This is obviously a difficult time for me right now, and I just feel helpless. My heart is really hurting right now. The fact that y'all are telling everybody to blow up my DMs up is beyond childish. How about y'all put that same energy y'all putting in to harass me into finding my friend?" What makes Jordan's post disturbing is the fact that the whole time she was playing the role of a heartbroken friend, she actually knew where Alexis was. When the police searched Alexis and Jordan's apartment, they eventually discovered a drop of blood in Jordan's bathroom. As they then found a blood-soaked sponge in the kitchen sink, everyone began to fear the worst. That fear only intensified when the investigators used luminol and revealed traces of blood in several places around the apartment. Something violent had happened inside the home, and someone had tried to clean up afterward. Further investigation revealed CCTV footage that showed Jordan and Barron getting in a car at 3 a.m. on October 31st, 2019, stopping at a door outside the camera view and driving away after about 6 minutes. The two returned at 4:09 a.m. What had they done during that 1 hour? Once the police discovered strange text messages from Jordan's cell phone records, including him asking Barron to destroy surveillance footage, they decided it was time to confront the young woman. It didn't take long for Jordan to break under the pressure and reveal the fate of Alexis Crawford. According to Jordan, she had sneaked Barron into her and Alexis's home from October 27 through October 31 after her best friend had been sexually assaulted. The fact that Jordan went to class at times meant Alexis was home alone with Barron without knowing it. A few days passed without an incident, without the two coming face to face with each other. But then, everything went wrong after Alexis and Jordan returned from the liquor store. The two began to argue, possibly because Jordan admitted she had let Barron inside the home. The fight soon got physical, and that is, when Barron exited Jordan's room and began to choke Alexis. Although Jordan didn't mention it to police at the time, Barron later told the detectives it was her girlfriend who then placed a plastic bag over Alexis's head. After a horrific struggle to breathe, the life disappeared from the young woman's eyes. After realizing Alexis was dead, Jordan and Barron placed her in a bin, cleaned up the blood, and then drove to a park to dump the bin over a hill. Jordan agreed to lead the police to the site, but as she wasn't sure which park they had gone to, it took a couple of tries before the investigators finally located the body of Alexis Crawford. The young woman's hands were tied with her own shirt. Another shirt was around her neck, and a trash bag with a hole was discovered near Alexis's body, which was wrapped in a blue blanket. The post-mortem examination later confirmed Alexis had died of asphyxiation. Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley were arrested in early November 2019 and charged with 2 counts of felony murder, as well as 1 count each of murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and concealing the death of another. Barron was indicted on 1 count of aggravated sodomy for the sexual assault of Alexis Crawford 5 days before her death. Due to the pandemic, Jordan and Barron appeared before the court for the first time in May 2022. The pairs of attorneys filed motions to sever the case, meaning there may be 2 different trials for the same crime. Although both have confessed to being present at the time of Alexis's murder, Jordan and Barron's stories have been contradictory. The two are pointing the finger at each other. Jordan and Barron are currently held at Fulton County Jail awaiting trial. Due to the fact either Jordan or Barron or both of them are still lying about the events on the night Alexis was murdered, we still don't know the whole truth of what happened to her, and more details are surely revealed during the trial. But one thing is for sure, Alexis Crawford's promising life was cut short, not because she did something wrong, but because she did what was right, and her best friend betrayed her for it.